Hi, everybody. Joe Appello, George Connor. We're back after, maybe 13, 14 months or so?
At least that, yeah.
Of isolation here. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to go golf, of course.
Why don't we start with everything that's happened in the world of golf since our last show?
And we'll be canceled now.
Grab your chairs.
Yeah. But we have a lot to talk about. We're going to focus on the NFL draft is one thing we're going to focus on. But first, let's kick it off with golf. George is the assistant golf coach for the girls at University of Hartford. He just had one of his golfers go, Ohio?
Yeah, we play the women's team at Hartford plays in the MAC conference. Okay. So every year, except last year, of course, we go down to Disney World for the MAC Conference Championship, and Maria Loza is our senior. Well, she was our senior. She just graduated last week.
Okay.
And she won the individual title.
Wow.
Winning the individual title entitled her to go to NCAA regionals. But what was interesting is in 2019, when she's a sophomore, she won it as an individual as well.
Oh, wow.
On the men's side, the team who wins the conference goes to a regional, and then also if an individual male who's not on that winning team wins the event by himself, he would go as an individual.
Okay.
So Maria wins her sophomore year. Quinnipiac, I think it was either Quinnipiac or University of Albany wins the team title. So it's, you won the individual.
Right.
We're going to get to go to NCAA regionals. We watched the show on the Golf Channel where they select this team's going to go to this site. The show's over. They never mentioned Maria because, as it turns out, it was just kind of everybody thought that was the way it was. On the men's side, it was. On the women's side, it wasn't. So she didn't get to go, and it was really.
Boy.
It was quite kind of a blunderish kind of oversight on the part of the conference.
Lawsuit waiting to happen, right?
Well, instead of that, they changed the rule, and then of course we don't have a tournament in 2020, but Maria ends up winning it in 2021. So because she won it as a sophomore, she was the first to take advantage of the rules change, or the condition change or whatever. So she did get to go. So we went to the NCAA regionals out at we played the Scarlet course at Ohio State University, which is
how many golfers are in this tournament?
96. So 16 teams of 5.
Oh, wow.
And then 6 individuals on top of that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Again, so regional, there's 4 regionals going on at one time. The top 6 teams from each regional advance to nationals, which is going on out at Greyhawk in Arizona right now. And then there is a way for the individuals to get in. It's kind of a long shot, but so we had a chance. It was a great experience for her. It was her. We got home on Wednesday, and Sunday was graduation. So a great way to end her college career.
So what happens next for her?
She actually, because all spring athletes from last year get an extra year of eligibility according to the NCAA.
Right.
She's in what's called the transfer portal. So if somebody's out there willing to give her a scholarship for her 1 year, she'll start on a master's program, graduate program.
Well, that's a great opportunity.
Smart kid, graduated with a biomechanic engineering.
Wow.
So obviously you and I couldn't help her with her homework.
No, we're out.
But like I said, it was a great experience. The golf course out in Ohio was really soaking wet, which makes the golf course play longer, and it was long on top of it. So it was a little bit too much golf course for us, but happy for the experience.
Good for her.
Yeah.
And Phil Mickelson
in the worlds of golf, yesterday. So we're filming this on May 25th, 24th. Became the oldest golfer to win a major championship.
Wow.
Won the PGA Championship. Had the lead. Had a 1-shot lead going into the day. Played good all week. Played great all week. Wasn't one of those tournaments where some guy goes out and shoots 75 one day early, but then comes back and wins. He played solid the whole time. It was yesterday, before as they're getting started, Mickelson and Brooks Koepka, and Brooks is kind of the major guy. He wins majors. That's what he does. And you kind of figure Phil being 50 years old, when there's a saying about you that's Phil being Phil can do some crazy stuff and hit some crazy shots and things like that. If you had to bet, as I know Phil does a lot, he's a big gambler. You probably would have bet on Koepka that he would be the guy who's steady and.
But Phil was driving the ball 330 yards. I saw.
He hit the longest drive of anybody for the week.
Yeah.
It was on maybe 14, 16, somewhere late in the day, and Koepka hits it out there 340 some yards. And Mickelson is at 366 yards.
Oh, my God. Wow.
Which is crazy. I mean, that could be the longest drive he's ever hit.
Yeah.
And as he gets older, he's.
They better test him up. I don't know.
Well, well, it's not, they do test. They do test on the PGA Tour, both randomly and scheduled. Speaking of testing, how many COVID tests have you gotten over the last year?
I got my 2. Yeah.
I've gotten. I'm vaccinated.
5 shots. I get 2 shots. I don't know.
Testing? I am an expert at getting tested. I don't even study anymore, Joe. That was part of the thing with the school is you get tested every week, and then if you're going to travel, you get tested again. Sometimes you get tested twice in one day.
I've never gotten tested, but I get shots.
Well, good for you. That means you weren't near anybody that had it. So
total isolation.
But yeah, I thought it was very cool to see Phil win yesterday.
Yeah. Stuff like that is exciting because it got me to watch it. I never would ever watch golf. Maybe you watched Tiger back in the day when he was hot.
Yep.
But for someone, it's a human interest story and something that's kind of neat. And it was fun to watch. I was amazed at the way the gallery, whatever they're called, was following those guys around and literally right behind them.
Yeah.
And it was almost like a mob.
It was the scene on 18 was something that you don't see very often at the Open Championship in Scotland. It should be in England this year. That's kind of the tradition is that the crowd does, kind of fill up the 18th fairway and work its way up. And there's, I can think of countless images of the guy who's getting ready to win kind of trying to kind of burst through that crowd to get out in front. It gets, I think security wasn't quite as good as you'd want it to be, but
it's like golf etiquette. They're all polite and quiet.
Yeah, I think it can be scary for somebody. It looked like Koepka was a little flustered by it.
So he said he was getting poked and stuff. Whatever.
Yeah, Koepka could also play linebacker in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, he's safe. He's going to be okay. But I think it's just an environment that's different for somebody who's never been in it. And then on top of that, they've been playing golf tournaments without a crowd for a year. So to make that change, I thought it was just really the excitement. I mean, there's some people out there that don't like Phil, maybe because they were a Tiger Woods fan or whatever it happens to be. But he's a likable, lovable guy. He's a great spokesperson for the game. Yeah. He's had a lot of challenges, whatever you want to call it, in his family. His mom and his wife both went through cancer. He suffers from psoriatic arthritis, which I don't know a whole lot about, but he's got some physical challenges. But despite that,
it's amazing how the concentration level of these elite athletes, has to be when you're in that crowd and surrounded by hundreds of people, and you got to concentrate and make this.
Sure.
Shot. That's the difference.
Yeah, thousands of people, and I think Koepka might have been affected by that. Yeah. Not just on the 18th hole, but the whole time.
Right.
There's plenty of players that would say if you're playing alongside Tiger for the first time, or you're playing just leave it at that. If you're playing along Tiger for the first time, it's a whole different adjustment because the crowds are that much bigger, and if they're that much bigger, they're going to be that much louder. Not that they're rude or anything else, but you can't have that many people together and expect silence.
It's a different dynamic.
And Phil maybe didn't have or doesn't have the same draw as Woods, but Phil at age 50. On his way to win a major, certainly created all that excitement.
Incredible, yeah.
And so I actually I got to see most of the back nine yesterday.
Yeah, good stuff. I watched the last couple of holes actually. Too.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, good stuff. Nice job.
Yeah.
NFL draft. I think it kind of went according to plan, although a couple race flags for me. The Jags picked Trevor Lawrence as expected. I think he'll be an amazing pro. I think he's the next Peyton Manning. Right. He's got no holes in his game,
Okay.
And the fact that he's so mature, he either got engaged or just got married, and he's a Christian. His perspective on life is amazing. He's gonna do. Problem is that as a number one pick or top pick, you go to a lousy team, and you got to take your lumps for a year, 2 years, 3 years. Who knows how long it takes?
Yeah.
And that's a tough thing to handle. The second pick for the Jets, Zach Wilson. Now it's amazing how you get a guy like Sam Darnold, who for 3 years was okay, but he had Darnold had no help. He had no offensive line. He had no weapons. So was that a good indication of his true talent or not? That's the question. And you figure Sam Darnold as he is now, is he better than any of those guys that were drafted? I think he's better than all of them as far as where he's at. Mm-hmm. Now he goes to the Panthers, and I think he's going to be a good quarterback.
I agree, and obviously I don't I'm a Jets fan.
Yeah.
I look at this, and the first thing is I hope Darnold just lights it up in Carolina, and I think he can.
Yeah.
To me, this draft is just deja vu from 2 years ago. You're drafting a very talented quarterback without giving him a lot of tools.
Right.
So really, what are we doing? It's just a restart.
You're setting up to fail.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. I mean, I was all about, and we talked about it, leading up to the draft, is keep Darnold. You could have traded the second pick and really loaded up, or get those key players, get the defensive tackle from Oregon, get this monster guy, get him a quarterback, get him a running game.
Yeah.
Because and so now that they
got a good coach now. Finally, I think Salah's going to be a really good coach.
But they draft Wilson, but they really haven't developed the team around them as of yet. Now there's
not fair.
Who knows what they're going to do? But I was not in favor of Zach. Zach Wilson.
I guess it's almost like a restart with a new coach and a new thing. It's almost like similar to what the Colts when they got the guy from Philadelphia, Carson Wentz. I mean, Wentz just got out of that negative atmosphere, that all the down stuff, all the coaching, and he's over to a new start with a guy that worked with him before, Frank Reich. So I think a reboot for Carson Wentz makes a heck of a lot of sense. I think he'll do well. But the second pick went to the Jets, Zach Wilson, who they say comparable to Patrick Mahomes. Now, it's a tough comparison. Plus, he played at BYU, which is not top-level football as a college player.
Yeah, it's not the SEC. It's not.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting to see how he does. I think Salah's going to do a good job there. Family man, he's got 5 or 6 kids, I think. 40 years old, first head job. I think they made a good choice there. Adam Gase was just like, he failed in Miami, and it just bring him up there and he fails. What indicates to you that he's going to be a good coach?
Yeah, and we talked about it on this show when it happened. It never made any sense. Never made any sense.
Now, a puzzling thing for me was the Niners taking Trey Lance. I don't understand that at all. First of all, Trey Lance played 17 college games. As I've said many times on the show, Bill Parcells says a college quarterback got to play at least 30 starts.
Yeah.
Have at least 30 starts.
With Tom Brady being the exception.
Right.
Because Brady didn't. He only played his last year.
Right. And
not that I think it's fair to compare Wilson to Mahomes, and it's never fair to compare anybody to Brady. Yeah. But just saying that there's an exception to every rule.
Right.
But
Zach played 4 years, 4-year starter.
Yeah.
Played a lot of games.
Yeah.
Where Trey Lance played 1 year. Last year, this past year he only had 1 start, and then the year before he had a full slate. But last year he played 1 game. So he could showcase himself, whatever that means. And the Niners take him. Now they got Jimmy Garoppolo already, and he's your boy, he's your man. Why would you waste a number 3 pick, on a backup quarterback or a successor down the road? I don't get that.
Yeah.
Not that he's so great that you don't know how Lance is going to do.
Right.
He hasn't showed you anything, in my opinion. So if Garoppolo is your quarterback, then that's a wasted pick. But if he's not, then I guess you do what you do.
Yeah.
The Falcons took Kyle Pitts, who's going to be a tremendous player. From all indications, he's a first tight end.
Yeah. Drafted
with a top 5 pick since like '72. And he's a good player. The Falcons with Matt Ryan. I don't know. What do you think about Matt Ryan? He's so average.
But no. Going back as a Jets fan, there's a place for that average quarterback.
Right.
There's a place for that guy who doesn't put up gaudy numbers or whatever else, manages the game, doesn't turn it over and stuff like that. And I'm just praying that we get one of them. But, Matt Ryan in Atlanta.
Now, staying with the Falcons, Julio Jones told a reporter today that he's out of there.
Yeah.
So, and he might land up in New England. That would be pretty good. Mm-hmm. It's tough to get an aging wide receiver, though, for that kind of salary, that kind of cost. So, is it worth it? I don't know. But
Belichick's certainly done it in the past.
Yeah.
A 1-year deal type of
Randy
thing, something
Moss,
like
stuff
that.
Like that. So that could be that might be an interesting thing. The Bengals took Jamar Chase, who took a break this year with the COVID. Didn't play, and he's reunited with Joe Burrow, his college quarterback. Mm-hmm. And Jamar Chase is the real deal too. He's big, fast. I mean, he's going to be a tremendous wide receiver for the Bengals. But the same thing, too. You can't throw touchdown passes if you're on your butt the whole game. So you got to get protection there. So,
Yeah.
But the Bengals are an up-and-coming team. I think Burrow is a special quarterback, great player. Now, the Dolphins took Jalen Waddle, who was hurt in the first game of last year, as a punt returner wide receiver. He's reunited with Tua. His college quarterback. That was a good pick. And then the Lions took Penny Sewell, the offensive tackle from Oregon. He sat out too. I think all the guys that sat out last year for COVID were all picked in the first round, like 6 or 7 of them.
Yeah.
So I guess you could say it paid off or was the right move. So we'll
I
see.
mean, it's nothing other. I mean, they had their record. You know, they had showcased who they are.
Yeah.
And then they're healthy.
Yeah.
Right. No, nobody's going to get hurt sitting at home.
Yep.
Not that they were just sitting at home. I'm sure there was they were working and everything else. But yeah.
And the Panthers took J.C. Horn, whose father, Joe Horn, was in the NFL as a wide receiver. He's from South Carolina. He's the real dude, too. He's a shutdown cover corner. He's good. He'll be a good player. Broncos took Patrick Surtain from Alabama. I think Alabama had like 10 guys picked in the first round.
Yeah, Alabama kind of, I think, jumped Ohio State this year.
Yeah.
There's years where Ohio State just dominates the first 3 rounds.
Yeah.
And I think Alabama
he's a good one, too.
Yeah.
So he took him. And number 10 was the Eagles, which is interesting. They traded. Eagles jumped the Giants and took Devontae Smith from Alabama.
Yep.
Now, Devontae Smith's interesting. Great wide receiver, but the guy is 166 pounds.
Yeah.
And, he's never really been hurt, but yet, man, that's just tough to think that he'll have a long career at 166 pounds. He just can't protect himself enough from those hits and stuff. So
you almost have to develop a system to protect him.
Yeah.
You got to limit him to what he can do.
And maybe put 10 pounds of muscle on, with the proper lifting.
Yeah,
and
put him in a slot and send him across over into the linebacker.
Yeah,
Probably not the way to go.
So I mean that to me, he's a tremendous, but that's a little risky. So and the Bears took Justin Fields, but they already got Andy Dalton. Good.
You take Justin Fields. Did anybody see Fields going after the guy from North Dakota? What's his name?
Yeah, North Dakota State.
North Dakota.
Trey Lance. I don't understand.
Who saw that happen?
How do you pick Trey Lance over Justin Fields?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Because when the Jets moved, when the talk, Trevor Lawrence was going number 1, no question about it. Number 2 was Fields was more the expectation instead of he was going to be the number 2 pick.
Yeah, he had all the intangibles that you want.
Yeah,
size, speed, intelligence, big time schedule, and playing all big games. You pick a guy Trey Lance that has 17 starts. That made no sense to me. I agree. That was a good point.
But that was my surprise.
Yes, or they were rumored to take Mac Jones too. The Niners. That was all the way up till draft day. It was Mac Jones.
Yeah.
That's the guy they were going to take. And they took Lance instead. So that was a head scratcher.
Yeah.
But I think Field, and then the Bears have they have the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton. They have Justin Fields, and they have Nick Foles still there. So those 3 guys. So they were saying maybe Nick Foles should go to maybe the Jets as a backup for. And a mentor for Zach Wilson. I think that would be a good move.
Yeah.
They can use a veteran. He's a good guy. He's 36.
Yeah.
Possibility, but.
Or start a quarterback controversy right the first week of training camp.
Because where's Joe Flacco? Is he still there? On the Jets? I think he went somewhere else. He went somewhere else.
I think he might have just been a release.
So who's the Jet backup? I wonder. At this point, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then the Cowboys took. Micah Parsons, the linebacker from Penn State that sat out this year.
Yep.
They needed a linebacker because they've had a lot of injuries there, and they just had a retirement. Who was the middle linebacker that just retired? Injuries from the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but he was a good player that just retired.
Yeah. And then the Chargers grab a tackle out of Northwestern.
Slater,
whatever. Jets, I do give them credit. They did get a big
good pick,
giant lineman, which they need.
Yeah.
So I said before they didn't do anything. Well, they're at least going down that road.
Yeah.
Whether or not that's enough to protect
the
them,
Patriots,
I seriously doubt that.
Patriots stood pat at 15. got their quarterback, Mac Jones. Great pick, I thought. He's like a bigger Tom Brady, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's a bigger Tom Brady. Same quality, same cerebral, good.
Pocket passer.
The only problem with him, too, he only played 15 games total as a college player because he was behind Tua and Jalen.
Yeah,
Hurts.
and again, you can never draw a comparison, but the Belichick Brady system fits Mac Jones.
Right.
It didn't fit Cam Newton.
Right.
So now you're changing all the pieces and everything else. But.
So you got Mac Jones sitting in the quarterback room with Jason Stidham and Cam Newton, 2 Auburn guys. You're like, hey, you know.
At least they'll be socially distanced.
Kind of funny, yeah. It's kind of funny. But they also in the offseason they got a couple tight ends, and they got Marquise Lee, I think. They got a wideout. They got a running back. They're going to be back again.
Speaking of tight ends, what about the newest tight end in the NFL?
And that's something, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, people are going crazy.
Goes from playing for the Mets. Now he's a tight end.
You know, people are going crazy over that. What's the big deal? Why not let the guy give it a shot?
Yeah.
If he's not any good, he's not going to play.
Right.
No matter who the hell he is.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So he's reunited with his college coach, Urban Meyers, and great guy, great teammate.
Yeah.
You can run some gadget plays with him. Throwing the ball once in a while. Why not?
Sure.
If he can catch, hey, he's big enough.
Yeah.
6'3", 260.
Bring back the Wildcat offense that was all the rage back there a few years ago.
He's a veteran guy with those young guys, a young team.
Yeah.
And it's a great move by the Jake. People are going, he shouldn't be allowed to play. Well, what do you care?
Yeah.
If he's not any good, he's not going to play. I mean, there's no question.
Yeah.
And the Cardinals took Xavier Collins, linebacker from Tulsa, a good player. That was a good pick. I thought that was a real good pick on their part. Yeah. Then the Raiders took Leatherwood from Alabama. Dolphins took Jalen Phillips, the edge rusher from Miami. Washington took Jamin Davis from Kentucky, a linebacker. Giants took Kavarius Toney, wideout, punt returner, kick returner from Florida. Real good playmaker, kind of like a kind of hybrid guy. And I know Jacksonville wanted him real bad, but a Percy Harvin type player, they say.
Now, why did the Giants pick so late? Did they trade something? Did they trade a pick?
They traded they traded a pick.
Okay. Because obviously they were to have the 20th pick in the draft, they must have traded a 7th or 8th round for two somethings.
They trade down,
Okay.
So
kind of what I wish the Jets had done.
Yeah.
Honestly, but.
Yeah. And the rest of the draft wasn't anything. The only thing, the Steelers took Najee Harris, so I think it's going to be a real good pro from Alabama, running back. Usually you don't get a running back taken in the first round, but right after that, the Jags took
not anymore. Years ago, I think it would be more common.
Yeah. Travis Etienne was taken by the Jags, so he's reunited with his college quarterback, so that's nice and cozy there. What else? The Packers took. Now the Packers with this Aaron Rodgers thing is very interesting. So he has said publicly that he doesn't want to go back.
He wants out. Yep.
Yeah, and the Packers like, no, you're not going anywhere. So how do you think that's going to play out? How does that play out?
I mean, how can there be a positive end to that?
No. Yeah.
I don't want to be here. Oh, you're staying.
You're staying, and you're going to play.
Yeah.
And you're going to be the MVP like you usually are.
It's like Judge Smales talking to Spalding. That's a Caddyshack reference. I don't expect you to get it. You're going to play here, and you're going to like it.
I didn't get that.
I just don't see how that works out. Now, at the same time, I think as an organization, you have to hold your ground a little bit.
Yeah.
You can't start as the precedent, just every guy who raises their hand, I want out, that's it, I'm done. Okay, now we got to deal with this guy. Now you
Watson.
now you got the players, making personnel decisions, which we don't want.
Yeah.
But
how about Deshaun Watson? What's going to happen to that guy?
Yeah.
That is a strange scenario.
Yeah.
He's been accused by like upwards of 20 girls, women, that have said he sexually assaulted them, blah, blah, blah. Some of them come forward, some of them not. Some of them were massage parlors, some of them were...
Now, I got to figure, doesn't the league have... the conduct policies and stuff like that?
Yeah.
They can step in?
It was like... a player going and getting massage therapy for his leg or something.
Okay.
And why a guy like that would have to do that is amazing in this day and age.
Yeah.
Of discretion and everything else. But what's going to happen there? I mean, they don't have a quarterback if he doesn't come back. And then, like Rodgers, if he comes back, you're telling the guy you're playing for us, but you don't want to be here.
Yeah.
You can't be here. You already said you want to go out. You got a brand new coach in there that sounds a little bit, some of these coaches come in and they say some stuff that's like, you know what? Keep your mouth shut. You know, like the guy from Detroit Lions, bite off kneecaps. Did you hear that guy?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? We're going to bite your kneecap off and get up and bite the other one off and this and that. It's so stupid. It's just incredible. Now you sound like an idiot in your first press conference. Yeah. Right away, and your players are probably going, "What the hell? Who is this guy?" So I mean, it's just sometimes that stuff is amazing.
Yeah, and I think Detroit's another just an awful organization with no success. So the guy goes in there and he just decides, I'm gonna change everything up. I'm gonna create a new culture or whatever else.
You can bring Vince Lombardi back from the dead, and if you don't have the personnel, you're not going to quarterback. You're not going to win anything. So it doesn't really. Yeah. That's the amazing part about it. So the draft is interesting. The draft it could get annoying too. I actually watched a lot of it, and they have like 5 or 10 minutes between each pick, and it's like, and every guy is. Oh, here's another a good term. They're using this term, contact balance.
Contact balance.
That was the one they used lots of times.
That's the phrase of the day.
So the guy gets hit and he still has balance. He's got great contact balance. What the heck? Or he has great feet, or he's athletic. Great athletic. He's played Division I football. Athletic. And over and over again, the experts saying, analyze these guys. Now, if I'm drafting a guy in the top first round, I'm probably going to live with the guy. Find out everything about him.
Oh, yeah.
Especially character-wise.
Yeah, interview his best friend. Yeah. Who do you take to prom? Yeah. Talk to his history teacher. Yeah. Sure.
What does he do on a Sunday night at 8 o'clock at night?
Yeah.
Is he in the library? Is he at a club? Is he, lifting weights? What's going on with him?
Yeah.
Is he at his mom's house? I don't see why they wouldn't know every. So when a character issue comes up with some of these guys, you wonder how it got by them, or they're not doing their homework, or whatever the case may be.
It's almost like at certain schools, in certain colleges or whatever else. Okay, we have these high academic standards.
Yep.
But if you're that good of an athlete, we can kind of fudge on the athletic standards a little bit. Yeah. If you're a middle of the road, you're a good football player. Yep. You're gonna be a third down guy, on the offensive line. Right. But your grades stink. There might not be room for you. You're an edge rusher, and you're gonna have 20 sacks a season or whatever else, and your grades stink. Well, there's a space for you. And I think sometimes the GMs and player personnel guys look at it that way too, and say, yes, we're going to take a risk on this because there's rumors of bad behavior or whatever it happens to be. But he's that good. Aaron Hernandez being. A pretty good example of it. Now he did fall.
He did fall in the 4th round.
Yeah. He was an automatic first round pick that dropped to the 4th round because of that. But I think too, you got a fixed number, you get a fixed pool of players.
Yeah.
There's not 150 college players that didn't get drafted that are shocked.
Right.
There might be 30 or 40. They were kind of mentioned in the conversation. Okay, and they'll sign on. But every general manager, every player personnel guys, they're all trying to be the smartest guy in the room.
Right.
Well, they're all very talented at what they do. Right. So they say, well, if I take a flyer on this guy who does, he's got a past. Right. Whether it's getting into trouble or an injury or whatever it happens to be. This guy's injury prone, or this guy's has got into some trouble. But if I go ahead and draft him and he turns out to be a superstar, it's like a feather in my cap as a general manager. So, and I think that's where some of that balance comes in.
I have a good question for you. How many, the Giants have X amount of coaches. How many do you think they have? Pro football Giants.
Coaches or coaches and front office guys?
Coaches, just pure coaches.
20.
28.
28.
28 coaches. Isn't that amazing? There's 54 guys or 50 guys on a roster?
I call it 60 with,
So you got one coach for every 2 guys. I mean, it's incredible.
You got your coach, and then you got an offensive defense coordinator, then you got a special teams coach, and then you've got a quarterbacks coach, a linebackers coach.
I get an offensive line coach and an assistant offensive line coach.
True.
You're going to have to have two of them probably there.
Then you got a wide receiver coach that might, or maybe a tight end. You have two tight end coaches. One when you're a tight end who blocks, and then you're a tight end when you catch the ball.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It is crazy. And then on top, so you got, you said 28 coaches?
28 coaches.
And then you go front office.
You got scouts in front office. And
player personnel, and the guy who was in charge of, always the salary cap number and everything
So you
else.
wonder how could he get something wrong? But it's not an exact science.
You could also look at it and say, with that many coaches, how could you ever get it right?
Yeah, that's true.
You got, what is it, too many cooks spoil the soup or something like that?
Yeah, you're right, yeah. Yeah, it's got to be tough. You get in road meetings, you got 5 different opinions, like,
Yeah.
who do I, what do you do? Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that's very, I'd like to be a pro football coach and coach 5 guys, 2 guys. What a job that is.
Yeah, I mean, if you're quarterback coach, you only deal with maybe 3 players at the most, right?
Yeah.
Do they have a special coach for the long snapper?
They do. I think they do. Yeah.
They have like a personal trainer.
Yeah. So it's funny because you watch shows like Get Up, and it's a great show and everything, but for 4 hours they'll talk about football, and they'll say like, well, the Cardinals are going to win 8 games this year. How do you know anything like that?
Yeah.
With injuries and everything else, or so-and-so is going to do this, and anyway.
Yeah.
But
the draft is sort of all the drafts in sports. I think the NFL gets the most attention.
It's so important. It's so integral in your success. Or
absolutely.
Not success.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've mentioned this before, but I would say in order, football and basketball, the draft is huge.
Yeah.
And in baseball, it's just baseball is probably the draft is the least important.
At least football, if you get drafted, you get a shot because of obviously there's more players, more space available, and injuries and everything else that happens.
Yeah.
But basketball, we said before, you're not drafted first round basketball. You're probably not making the team.
Yeah.
No matter what. Guys just don't leave. You got guys in the G League, B League, A League.
Yeah,
all over the place.
playing in Europe, whatever it happens to be. But you get to the NBA. There's 12 men on a roster.
You got guys
It's not a lot of spots.
declaring for an NBA draft that don't even start in a college team. I'm like, how is that possible?
Yeah.
So you're 6'8" and you're a freshman, okay. So potentially, why wouldn't you stay in school for a year or 2 years, 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
Get an education. No matter what, at least you always fall back on that.
Yeah.
Guys,
I mean, I don't know. To me, that's a tough sell. You get a kid who, whether it's basketball, football, even baseball. You grow up in whether they were dirt poor or their parents lived paycheck to paycheck or whatever else. And you're like, I can come out now?
Yeah,
and then now an agent gets to him and say, wait a minute, you mean I can come out now and if I get drafted, I'm going to make this type of money.
Right.
And then even in baseball, okay, I'm not going to, I can get drafted and hang out.
Right.
But I can get a $500,000 signing bonus or something
That's
like that.
tough. Yeah.
It's tough to say no.
Yeah, it's a tough decision, yeah.
Because at that point, you say, well, if I get this much money and if an education is really that important, I go back.
Yeah.
I can go back and get it.
Yeah.
You do hear about some of those players who leave.
You can invest the money. You can.
They leave their school early, and they'll, when they're in their 30s, they'll go back and they'll finish their degree or something like that, which is nice. But I mean, I hate to say it, but if you have a successful professional career and you at least either have the intelligence of how to handle it, or probably more important, the intelligence to get somebody in charge of it.
Yeah, to plan it right. Yeah.
You don't need an education to fall back on. Now,
Right.
coming out of school, you could get hurt game one, and that's the end of that.
Right. The other thing, too, is like with baseball especially, is you get a guy that's signed out of high school at 17, 18 years old and goes to the minors, and he has absolutely no college education at all.
No.
And he blows his arm out or something, and then what do you do?
Yeah.
That's the hard
I know we have an agreement not to talk about hockey on this show, but hockey's the same situation.
Yeah.
You get a lot of kids from rural areas that, like to your point, 16, 17 years old, and if it doesn't pan out, it doesn't pan out.
Yeah. It's a tough, obviously tough decision, and one that's life changing. All right. So football wise, it'll be here sooner than later, and baseball wise, the Yankees are doing well. They've kind of righted the ship. Pitching's been unbelievable for the Yankees.
Yeah.
They played the White Sox over the weekend, and the White Sox scored like 1 run in like 18, 19 innings, and they finally got a few runs out yesterday. And they had a triple play the other night. You see that?
I did.
That was unbelievable.
Didn't see it live, so I saw the replay.
Yeah, that was amazing. Yankees are getting a little bit healthier, but still long way to go. The Mets were hit by injuries like you wouldn't believe. I can't believe it.
I tell you, but knock on whatever this is made out of, they're plugging the right guys in. You know, they had a stretch. DeGrom is still out as we're recording the show, but you know, it was typical Mets on DeGrom day. You know, they're just not going to score any runs. And it was a doubleheader. So a day night, you know. So I was working during the day. I get home, this is perfect. You know, it starts a little later. I get to watch the game. They threw out a lineup there that was just, you know, wow, I forgot. Oh yeah, we do have that guy. You know,
minor league.
Just a bunch of, you know, bench riders.
Yeah.
They go and they score 7 runs in 5 innings. And the starters hadn't done that. So I mean, it's always the kind of the thing with ever since DeGrom and Syndergaard came in, it's getting that consistent run production. And getting some, you know, just for once, get some run production when on DeGrom day.
And they have had Syndergaard all year. They have had
Syndergaard's getting close.
Seth Lugo.
Seth Lugo's out. Yep.
And then they got Carlos Carrasco. So they've got 3 good arms, maybe coming back.
Syndergaard's already been throwing some games down in Port St. Lucie, so he'll.
Lugo's throwing too.
He's getting close. You know, I mean, they really kind of spoon feed these guys. Now, again, Syndergaard's coming back from major surgery, but it was, you know, 2 innings. He threw 2 innings, 20 pitches. You know, down in Port St. Lucie the other day. And then who was it? I think it was Lugo who went out and threw 5 pitches and finished the inning. Okay, which is great because he's got his good stuff, but they're like, okay, you're not done yet. Now go to the bullpen and throw another 25 pitches or whatever else. You know, you were supposed to throw 30 today.
There's one point with the Mets that I think they had 1 starter on the field, which was Lindor.
Yeah.
Everybody else was out.
Yeah, and I tell you, Lindor came under attack early in the season, and you know, this, that, and the other thing. Now all of a sudden he's on fire.
Yeah, so you got to give it time.
Yeah, just stay patient.
Relax.
You know, because and I think it's all time. I mean, I talk to my golfers about this. A baseball player's going to go through a slump.
Right.
In the season, I don't care who you are.
Yep.
You might have a 10-game stretch there where you don't know when it's going to come.
Yeah.
If it comes in the first 10 games and you're new to the team, it stinks.
You're 2 for 35.
But it happens, you know. And all of a sudden now he's kind of caught fire.
Yep.
He and McNeil had some kind of a run-in that we'll never know about. You heard about that one?
Yeah.
There was some kind of, they got into a tussle in the tunnel, and neither of them would say, you know, talk about what it was or whatever else. They put it behind them.
Was that the one with the rat or the?
It was a raccoon or it was a rat, and then Lindor came out and said it was a raccoon, and. But yeah, no, you know, they which I like. I mean, I think you know, going back to, you know, the Reds have the bad boys moniker, but you know, the '86 Mets, they beat up anybody, they'd get in fights or whatever else. I have no problem with that.
They were intense. They wanted to win.
But solid, you know, and that's exactly what happened with McNeil and Lindor. Whatever it was, they got into something on it. They went in, they settled it like men, and now it's over.
Yeah, you got Alonso's out with a wrist or something.
Yep.
You got McNeil's out with a leg, I think.
Yep.
And then you got J.D. Davis is always hurt. He's out again. 3rd.
What's the D in Davis stand for?
J.D. Davis. I have no idea.
Davis.
Oh, it does?
Yeah. I never knew that.
What's J? John?
John
Davis.
Jimmy,
Davis.
Joe. I don't know. Something Davis, though.
Then you got Nimmo, still out.
Yep.
Conforto's out now. Don Smith's still playing. He's in left field. Who else is out? What's her?
Actually, Don played first base the other night because with Alonso being out. And made some great plays.
Yeah, he's good.
Plays
he's
that
good.
Maybe Alonso would have made.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, he's slick. He's a slick fielder.
Yeah.
I bring back Cespedes.
Don't ever say that word again.
You haven't heard anything about him, no?
No, we don't talk about that. It's like Voldemort. You don't say that.
It's a C word.
But you know, despite all that, the Mets they're in first place.
Hang in there.
And I said, you know, a few weeks ago, I said, you know, they're really 1 run away from kind of a little bit of separation, and they did. They made that. I think they rattled off 7 in a row.
Yeah.
And now I think they dropped 6 out of the last 10.
Yeah.
You know, but it's again another good division. I think
Jonathan Villar's a good player. He was good with the Orioles years ago. I always liked him.
Yep.
Peralta played for the Red Sox last year. He's been playing all right.
Yep.
They got, you know, they're hanging in there.
Yeah.
I think James McCann's not all he's cracked up to be. He's a good defensive catcher, but he's like 208.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's
to get an offensive catcher, I think is just
actually Thomas Nino has actually putting McCann on the bench a little bit. He's been playing pretty well.
Yeah.
So,
but to have a catcher where you're expecting a lot of run production there's just not many of them.
The best thing that comes out of this, even with the Yankees, is like give a guy a chance. You never know what he can do until he's in there.
Right.
You don't know how they're going to do it until they play. Like the Yankees are finally playing Andujar. Now Andujar 2 years ago should have been Rookie of the Year. And the guy's a doubles machine. He had like 48 or 52 doubles that year. He had 28 home runs. And he's starting to heat up now because he's playing a little bit. Mm-hmm. And, same thing. The guy in and out, he played a game, sit a game, play 2 games, sit 3 games. And you can't get a rhythm like that. You just can't, in my opinion. And so he's been hitting the ball pretty well. Chapman has been unbelievable for the Yankees as a closer. Oh, my God, he was unhittable.
Yeah.
Although he got hit yesterday. I gave up a home run in the 9th inning to tie it, and they had to win 5-4. But he's been amazing, and they got Britton coming back soon. It's going to help them.
Yep.
But Corey Kluber has been unbelievable for the Yankees.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a no-hitter last week. I mean, you can see him if you watch him a lot, game by game by game. He's getting better, better, better. His ball just moves so much that he was spotting and locating it better every time. Mm-hmm. Now he's at the point where he's good, almost like he used to be when he was Cy Young Award winner a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So he's a fine. Cole, fantastic.
Yep.
So the Yankees are playing a lot better. Playing a lot better.
Sox didn't really do a whole lot in the offseason. Actually, the last 2 years, they're playing some pretty good baseball.
They hit the ball. They had J.D. Davis having. He's at 350. Bogarts is playing fantastic. They got Devers. They still have Vasquez as their catcher. Yep. They got Dahlbeck playing first. Good young player.
Yeah.
The outfield, they got Verdugo and Marvin Gonzalez from the Astros. He's playing. So it's their pitching really is what their problem is. They got Evaldi, this kid Nick Favetta.
Yeah.
But they're playing pretty good. They got beat up this weekend though.
Yeah. But, getting back to the Mets for a second, with all the injuries that they have and all the the call ups and everything else that they had to put in there. Yep. I hate to say it, but in the long run, it might be a huge positive.
Absolutely.
Because you've got we know what this guy can do.
Right.
But you're also showing the rest of the league what this guy can do.
Right.
And now you've actually got some assets to as you get to early summer and trade deadlines and things like that, you can plug some holes and not have. If you do it strictly with minor leaguers, I know you followed your Yankees your whole life. I followed the Mets my whole life.
Yeah.
I'm not that in tune that we got this guy and it was these 3 prospects and maybe a guy that Well, now those prospects are not prospects. They've actually.
Well, speaking of that, the Rays traded Willie Adames to the Brewers last week because they have a number 1 shortstop, a number 1 prospect in baseball. I guess he's ready to come up now. See what he does.
Okay.
I forget his name, but he's supposed to be. You just can't keep him down there anymore. You got to bring him up. So they traded him. Got a couple pitchers for him, but it's interesting the way that works. Now, as far as the basketball goes, play it right in the middle of the NBA playoffs. I know you're not a real basketball guy, but I watch them all the time. And first round was over the weekend, and you really see there's not that much difference between a number 1 seed and a number 8 seed in the NBA. There just isn't. Yeah. With injuries and everything else going on, any team can beat anybody any night. And you saw that in the first round. The Wizards gave the Sixers all they can handle. They won by 8, but that was a tough game. And Nets beat the Celtics. Celtics are really in bad shape. Without Jaylen Brown, they're just, I think the Nets will sweep them. Then you got the Bucks and the Heat. It's a tough one. Bucks, Heat's tough. Got Hawks and Knicks. That was a tough game yesterday. Trae Young kind of took the game over with the Knicks game and beat them. Got Jazz and Grizzlies. The Grizzlies beat them last night. Beat the number 1 Jazz. Jazz doesn't have that. Mitchell's not playing right now, so he's a big loss for them, for the Jazz. And
so again, not to turn this strictly to gambling or something like that, but say you said with these 8 teams, how kind of close it is. What are the odds for say the 5th ranked team to win? Is it 30-1? Is it
4 or 5? I mean, as far as winning the whole tournament, the title. Yeah, those are. like for instance, the
I mean,
Lakers.
so it's like the 5 team. Is that like a long shot for them to win?
Well, the
it, or-
Lakers are ranked 7th, right?
Okay.
And they're the favorite to win the West,
Okay.
which makes no sense. But
Right.
because of the injuries and LeBron coming back and AD coming back,
Yeah. Okay.
so they're the proven favorite. Now, I don't think they're going to win. I don't think they're going to get out of the West, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think LeBron is not totally healthy. His ankle, he's not getting the lift or the spring or the speed he used to have. Yeah, the guy's 38 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, and then Anthony Davis played terrible yesterday.
He's
He had
38 years
points.
old?
38.
That makes us old.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, so
Speaking of that, just take a guess. I wouldn't expect you to know. What was Mickelson's odds at the beginning of the week to win the PGA Championship?
100 to 1?
200 to 1.
2 to 1? Is that right?
And you know who I guarantee you bet on Phil Mickelson? Phil Mickelson.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, why
If
wouldn't
it's legal, I mean, clearly you're going to throw $100 on that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
200 to 1.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Put $1,000 on there, right? You're all set.
Yeah.
So then you got the other games, the Blazers and the Nuggets. The Blazers beat the Nuggets the other night, and then you got the Mavs and Clippers, and the Mavs beat the Clippers. I think Clippers are very overrated in that division. They just don't seem to have. They got Kawhi and they got Paul George, and Rondo, but I don't think they're all they're geared up to be.
Yeah.
So the NBA, in my opinion, the NBA could be. I still think the Nets are the number 1 team to beat. They're just too strong.
Yeah.
They have the big 3, but regardless of that, the big 3, they have like 5 or 6 more players that are really, really good. Joe Harris can shoot. Green can play. They've got Blake Griffin. They've got DeAndre Jordan. They've got Clayton. They've got Landry Shamet that can shoot. They're just totally from top to bottom. They're loaded. If I were the Nets, I would make 2 teams. I'd have a team with, say, LeBron. I mean, not LeBron. With Durant and Kyrie, and then Harden and 5 other guys. I'd have 2 teams. Every 6 minutes, put them in there.
Yeah.
And you'll kill the second team of the other team because you just can't keep on. Because the NBA is like Seth Curry will play the first quarter, sit out the first 6 minutes of the second quarter, play the last 6 minutes. It's almost like clockwork. They all do that no matter what.
Okay.
So that's what's becoming. So if I were the Nets, that would be one thing I would try. I would split the big 3 up and put one, and then maybe, or one guy here, and then the other guy kind of rotate around. I think if you're smart with that, it could be ingenious, really.
No, it was almost like do it playground style.
Yeah.
Okay, choose them up.
Yeah. I mean, because you always have one of the big guys in there all the time.
Yeah, so you get 2 captains.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take you. I'll take you. I'll take you.
Yeah. I would take those 3 guys in the room if I'm the coach. Say, okay, this is what I'm thinking. What do you guys think? Let them endorse it or yay or nay.
Yeah.
And see what they think and give it a shot. I think they sweep the Celtics. So the Celtics are just like. They need Kemba and Tatum to play out of their minds to even have a chance. And that doesn't. I mean, Tatum had 50 points in the playing game, and they barely won.
Yeah.
I mean, 50. I mean, so.
So are they on a normal? Is the NBA on a normal schedule now, or are they?
Well, all the
because
games
of
are
COVID, is it all pushed back?
It's 4 out of 7, and you basically play every other night.
Okay.
Basically, what it is.
So they're back on a normal.
Pretty much, yeah.
Are they in a bubble, or are they just?
No, they're home and
trapped?
away, yeah.
Okay.
And
All right.
some venues are full up. Some are 50%. Some are 75%. The Knick Hawk game yesterday was crazy because the Knick capacity was almost, I think, 3/4.
Okay.
And they were. When Trae Young was playing, they were going F you Trae Young, F you Trae Young the whole time, and he was getting all pissed off. And he was going, shh, and he was going like this. And the interview after the game, he was like, "Well, it's easy for me to get motivated when they were saying F you the whole time." So that was very funny. But yeah, the crowds are back in it.
That's good.
Big difference too. A good crowd. My God.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But so that's the NBA. NBA will be going on until.
That was my question.
End of June, maybe. Yeah.
They will finish by the end of June.
Third week of June, probably. Yeah,
Okay.
I think it is. Because it depends. Obviously, you have the games go 7 games, 6 games, 5 games, whatever sweeps. Because they got.
But even like in baseball, if if my team is going to play the winner of your series,
Right.
I win in 4, I just got to hang around. And even if you win in 4,
Right, you gotta
because of TV and everything else,
That's right.
I don't know that speeds it up.
Yeah,
So
it
I
doesn't
think
speed it up at all.
that last 7 games
you're
is
right.
probably on the calendar, and that's what it's
Right.
going to have to be.
I don't know if that helps you or hurts you too if you sweep somebody in 4 and then you got to sit around for 5 days.
That's always the question. You go back to when, what was it, the year 2008? 7 or 8, and when the Mets and the Cardinals went 7 games for the right to play, might have been the Tigers, who swept the ALCS.
Okay.
And everybody said, oh, well, whoever, between the Cardinals and the Mets, whoever wins there is such a disadvantage because, I don't remember who it was,
Yeah,
'cause
yeah.
the Mets didn't get there. But lo and behold, the Cardinals won.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's always that. Does it give you a chance to get rested?
Yeah.
Or does it give you a chance to get rusty?
Yeah, you get to heal up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Or do you get flat?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. That's
So, and I think, we talk on the football side, Belichick is always, I think, the master at handling, whether it's the bye week during the season or, so many years they don't play that first round
Right.
of the playoffs. He's got a great record coming off of the bye. So it's more time to prepare,
Yep.
but also more time to prepare, get players healthier, but then make sure that they're ready to go when
Right.
the whistle blows or the puck drops. Or
Here's an
whatever.
interesting breakdown of the draft. I read this the other day. Out of the first round, what position do you think was drafted the most? First round.
In the first round.
First round, just first round.
Well, no, there's 4 quarterbacks.
Oh, I'm talking. No, let's go whole draft. Whole draft.
Oh, the whole draft.
Whole draft. Yeah.
Offensive line.
Defensive backs,
Defensive backs.
55. Number 2 was linebackers,
Okay.
38. Well, if you're a defensive backs, you have four in each team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of one quarterback.
4 starters.
4 starters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then and same for linebackers.
Right.
Yeah, that's fair.
Wideouts, 34. Defensive tackles, offensive tackles, 25. Defensive ends, 22. Running backs, 19.
Okay.
Guards, 14. Tackles, defensive tackles, 13. Tight ends, 13. Quarterbacks, 10. First round. Centers, 7. Nose tackles, 5. Long snappers, 2. And
There you go.
kickers, 1. And punters, 1. Isn't that something? All in the
Yeah.
first round. Yeah.
Yeah, long snappers is one of those I think the kind of a cool thing in sports where it's a very, very specialized
Yeah.
position. Not anybody can just jump in and do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And there's a spot for that guy.
Yeah. You know, another interesting thing about the draft is the Rams haven't drafted in the first round since they took Goff number 1 in 2016.
Say that
5
again.
years. The Rams haven't drafted anyone in the first round in 5 years.
Not one pick in the first round.
Trade them all away. They got Jared Goff, number 1 pick in 2016.
Was it that bad of a pick?
They
They just didn't want to do it
They
again?
just trade all their first round
Because it
picks.
doesn't look like it's a recipe for success. I mean, they're not exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a very. Either they don't believe in the draft, or they don't endorse. I don't know what their
They
philosophy
don't
is.
know how to draft.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Now, how do you grade their success? You know, what I mean, they've been okay.
Yeah.
And they went to the Super Bowl in 1 year, but I don't know. So anyway.
That's right. Yeah, they did go once.
Yeah.
More than I can say.
Yeah, I think they'll be pretty good this year with Matt Stafford, so it should be interesting. So Mets will stay the course. Yankees are playing well. See what happens there. Red Sox, Yankees coming up in a couple weeks. I think that should be fun to watch. Should be fun to watch. So, but the Mets, it's weird. That Cameron Mayburn was batting 30 the night.
Yeah.
The guy's in the minors. Now he's batting third for the Mets. That's incredible.
Again, that's one of those
Somebody's
things.
batting
You got
orders.
all these guys hurt. You got to piece some things together.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, we're not sure when we'll be on again. We got to get set with a set schedule.
After this performance, we'll never be on again.
That's why I didn't want to go boop. Yeah, you guys are done. So,
All right. But when we do get back, I'll look forward to it.
yeah, a couple of weeks anyway. It should be get back to normal every other week soon, I hope. Okay? All right, George, good job. High five.
Thanks, Joe.
All right.
Thank you.